Hello. So good to meet you at our global motivational meeting. We are reading World Scriptures book, this God's Word to inspire and empire with positive vibe for the day. This holy book are helping billions of people, families, communities, countries, and the whole world, and will help you too. Just read these quotes and practice daily in your life. As we are reading the book from beginning, please find all the chapters on our message to Vivian channel. And let's see what God prepared for us today. Faith in the face of adversity. Father, if it's possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as thou wilt. Now there was a day when Job's son and daughters were eating and drinking wine in their elder's brother's house. And there came a messenger to Job and said, the oxen were plowing in the ashes feeded beside them, and the Sybians fell upon them and took them and slew the servant with the edge of sword. And I alone have escaped to tell you. While he was yet speaking, there came another and said, the fire of God fell from heaven and burned up the sheep and the servants and the consumer them. And I alone have escaped to tell you. While he was yet speaking, there came another and said, the Chaldeans formed three companies and made a rain upon the camels and took them and slew the servants with the edge of the sword. And I alone have escaped to tell you. While he was yet speaking, there came another and said, your sons and daughters were eating and drinking wine in their elder brother's house, and behold, a great wind came across the wilderness and struck the four corners of the house, and it fell upon the young people, and they are dead. And I alone have escaped to tell you. Then Job arose and ran his robe and shaved his head and fell upon the ground and worshipped. And he said, naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked shall I return. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. And in all this, Job did not sin or charge God with wrong. So Saul said to David, you are not able to go against the Philistines to fight with him, for you are but young, and he has been a man of war from his young. But David said to Saul, your servant used to keep sheep for his father, and when there came a lion or a bear and took a lamb from the flock, I went after him and smote him and delivered it out of his mouth. And if he arose against me, I caught him by his beard and smote him and killed him. Your servant has killed both lions and bears, and this uncircumcised Philistine shall be like one of them, seeing he has defied an army in the living God. When Surah comes down, enjoining them to believe in God and to strive and fight along with his apostle, and those with wealth and influence among them ask you for an exemption, saying, leave us behind, we would be with those who sit. They prefer to be with the women who remain behind. Their hearts are stilled, and so they understand not. But the apostle and those who believe with him strive and fight with their wealth and their persons. For them are all good things, and it is they who will prosper. And as Peter was below in the yard, one of his maids of the high priest came and saw Peter warming himself and looked at him and said, you also were with the Nazareth Jews. But he denied it, saying, I neither know not understand what you mean. And he went out into the gateway, and his maid saw him and began again to say to the bystanders, this man is one of them. But again, he denied it, and after a little while, again, the bystanders said to the Peter, certainly you are one of them, for you are a Galilean. But he began to invoke a curse on himself and to swear, I do not know this man of whom you speak. And immediately the cook crowed the second time, and Peter remembered how Jesus had said to him before the cock crowed, twice you will deny me 3 times, and he broke down and wept. Further, let's read quote from the second Messiah, Father, Son, and Moon. Suppose you have been married for some time and are deeply in love, but suddenly your spouse died. You feel as if all of heaven and earth were crumbling. At that moment, you could curse God for taking your loved one away. But instead, you should think, what could be the reason this has happened? You should recall that God often takes away something precious in order to give something more precious. Such is the heart of a parent. You should think about your situation in light of the principle of restoration through indemnity, remembering that on the path of restoration, indemnity is something to be grateful for. When you can appreciate it, saying, God, choose me to suffer this loss because he knows I am the only one strong enough to go this indemnity course. And then if you came before God this with the settled spirit and pray, what's next? God will be amazed. When you look at the long view of you suffering today, will occur as blessings to you descendants 100 years and 1,000 years in the future. Absolute faith, it is the subject of my prayer these days. Not the faith of Peter, but absolute faith. Absolute faith. With absolute faith, you can go on even though you are dying. Prison is nothing. Not even death can stop you from continuing on the path. Jesus prayed, my Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as thou wilt. Even though he died away from home, he died not for himself, but for the sake of the Father. He became a glorious offering. Do you understand what your limitations are? You have to be courageous even in the face of death. Then a leap will occur, a leap. When you have made up your mind to die and go forward, even at the most difficult point where you cannot escape either down into the earth or up into the sky, God will surely appear. Hence, I am not bothered by the questions of whether or not God exists. I experienced so many of his works like in dreams. God will always work as he desires for his people of absolute faith. Because our first ancestors fell due to the disbelief, to go forward, we have to overcome disbelief. We can go over the line where our first ancestors fell when we act out of absolute faith. What is the meaning of absolute faith? It means to go forward in the face of death, go forward even though you are dying, and continue even after you are dead. Today, throughout the world, Christianity appears to be fading. Even the United States, this gigantic nation, seems to be sinking. What kind of people does God, the unchanging subject, look for to be his object partners? He cannot work with the people who dance to the world's tune and accommodate themselves to it. People change and the world changes. Yet God looks for people who determine never to change, who say, even though the world may perish, we will not change. God is expecting us to be such people. and who stand on firm ground and who demonstrate both faith and zealous deeds. You call upon God, you cry out for God's will, you seek after God's truth, and you fight for God's glory. What is the purpose of such a life of faith? First, its purpose is to make you absolutely firm and resolute. God cannot trust you unless you have the conviction that no suffering can overpower you and no historical sorrow can defeat you, for the foundations laid in your mind and body is unshakable. Unless God can trust you, he cannot use you to bring an end to the evil state of affairs for your generation. So powerful quotes. If you have difficulties, please watch one more time this video or share this video as we end dealer on Happy Life Subscribers Marathon. Contact me for consultation, cooperation, and become a member of this Heavenly Parents Holy Community globally. I wish you a great blessed day and see you tomorrow with more powerful quotes. Stay happy, healthy. Bye-bye. Yours, Nikolai Serpala.